Hi, it's Christina. Thanks for tuning into my channel where we talk about leaders progressing into exceptional leaders. And today, what I want to talk to you about is leadership and signs that you are a leader. Now, before we get started, one thing I do want to mention is that I believe that there's a false narrative out there that people believe that they are defined as a leader only through work. And that is not true. Your organization does not define whether or not you are a leader or not. Leadership traits are something about who you are. And in fact, you've probably had these leadership traits throughout your entire life. And it's whether or not you carry them into your everyday experiences. Do you carry them into the workplace? And I think it's important to understand that. Sometimes people get really frustrated because they haven't been defined as a leader or within an organization. The reality is an organization is one place that you could be defined as a leader, but leadership is something that is yours. So I want you to think about when you own your story, when you really have done things throughout your life where you've had to step forward. Usually it's times of adversity, or you've had to be a person that steps up maybe in your family or maybe in a sports scenario, maybe something in high school, but you'll really know, you'll be able to resonate with whatever that experience is. But it's really important to understand that because that demonstrates that you have leadership skills and you can bring them into work or other parts of your life. So don't get caught up in that false narrative that, hey, an organization is going to define whether or not you're a leader. That's not true. So let's talk about some things that you will see when leaders actually emerge. So the first one is a leader usually has a very clear idea about where they're going. They're pretty driven. They know where they're going. They know the process, the things that they're putting in order to actually get there. And they're quite focused. Let's put it that way. But when you are a certain type of leader and you're focused that way, your vision or mission, whatever you're doing, will actually attract in other people, right? It gives that sense of security that you are moving in a certain direction. Some people will follow it and some people won't, but it is something to bear in mind that they're usually very vision focused. Now, the other one would be they communicate their vision very clearly. Their communication is clear and articulate. Sometimes it's very simple things, right? Like I am going here, or I'm going to have the best year ever, or we're going to be the best team ever, whatever it may be. But it's something that can align other people to whatever the vision is. And when that happens, it's pretty amazing. The more simpler you can make that vision, it makes it easier for other people's to follow, people to follow. So really think about that. In your life, have you had situations where you had to be very clear about the direction that you're going? What is the vision? What is the vision for the family? What is the vision for work? What is your vision for your own personal path? Those are leadership traits, right? That as you're kind of bringing all your experiences together in order to get you to the goal. Now, the other one is they're very confident about achieving these goals. They're not second guessing. They, automatically everybody has these moments where they can second guess, but they're resilient enough that they can bounce out of it and they can still be very driven. They will fall, but they can pick themselves up and it's really a non-issue as they move into this next category, which is amazing. One thing I want to say about leadership and the false narrative sometimes that we have in the workplace, that we assume that positions are what defines a leader. I would say that that's more of the traditional way. Through organizations, I have seen leaders emerge, and usually it's when adversity hits, right? It's when things are really challenging. You will see who the leaders are that are surrounding you because they step forward. They step forward to help. They step forward because it's the right thing to do. They step forward with their own purpose to be able to contribute to something. So an example would be, I'll never forget this one, but during COVID, we had a janitor that actually stepped forward and was so focused on safety and cleanliness during this time frame, and really was compassionate and very endearing to those around them, that it really spoke to me, because that individual was a leader. And that had nothing to do with the position he had in the organization. He actually just stepped forward and was that person who was doing the right thing. He was a leader, and people could see it and people would follow. And, because he was cleaning the place from a safety perspective, others would follow suit. And this is what I mean. They lead by example. They do the right thing. So I'm using the work example, but like, leaders will emerge when crisis happens. So I want you to think, sometimes there's people that in your personal life, something will happen, and it will be the people you least expect that will step forward and be like, okay, we need to do something, or we need to help here, or this is what needs to be done. And to me, those are leadership traits. That is amazing, because it's not following a script. It's actually the innate need to step forward and make change, or to assist, or be empathetic or compassionate. And those are wonderful traits to honor, and to realize that's a leader. That's a leader. It's not because you followed a checkbox. It's those types of behaviors that demonstrate that you are a leader. So I just want to be mindful that we remember that, right? Sometimes we get so caught up on the external fix about you telling me I'm a leader, instead of understanding that you actually are a leader because of these things that you have already done in your life, or when you have stepped forward. Remember that feeling and bring that into your everyday life. The other one is, leaders, they go the extra mile. They're not checking the box and walking out on you. They're actually quite passionate, and, will do what is necessary to get the job done. And they're not doing it because they feel as though that they're forced to do it. They're doing it because it's the right thing. So think about the type of person you would want to follow. Would you want to follow someone who is, pretty excited about this next chapter, who's kind of pushing and doing these extra things so you guys can get over the goal line? Or someone who's like, well, I guess we have to do these things. It's what we should be doing. There is a very different tone and a different level of momentum that goes behind it when people are shifting and making changes that way. So a leader will naturally, guys, go beyond what's expected of them. They are usually the type of person that loves the explore. They love learning and moving into this next space. They're very curious. Those are traits that you pick up throughout your life. And it's so interesting, because this is why I ended up shifting myself. One thing that I came to realize, I have been in HR for 25 years, and people used to come to me quite a bit and be like, Christina, make me a leader. How can I be more like a leader? And I would always have to remind them that, where have you done it before? It's not about forcing it. It's just remembering that you already have these traits within you, and to show up in that way is extremely powerful. And to remember who you are and be like, oh, yes, I've done this before, is definitely going to help you show up in a better way in the workplace. So when we understand that piece, that those skills that you acquire when you go through life, when, for me, I'm more interested where you've had adversity, because I believe it is in those experiences that you learn to pivot, you learn resilience, you learn adaptability. It is those experiences. It is not something that you are going to get from a scripted book. It's you remembering that you've already done it. You already learned how to do it. Now, how do I bring that into my everyday practice in a positive way? So those are amazing leadership skills that you want to make sure that you are honoring So you don't have to create something new. We actually need you to show up and be, re-engaged with these traits that you already have. Another one would be they're pretty passionate about things that they do, right? They're engaged. A leader is not going to show up and be super negative and be feeling like the victim. It doesn't work that way. Leaders show up in a way where they're passionate, they can inspire, and they can motivate. So it's really something for you to keep in mind. Do you do that? Do you do that for your team? Do you do that for other people? Do you do it for yourself? And I think that the first and foremost is you have to be able to do it for yourself in order to show up effectively for others. Also, I would say that they are great problem solvers. So they remove obstacles when it comes down to it, right? For their team, for themselves. So if something isn't necessarily going to plan, they don't walk away completely. They will actually learn how to remove the obstacle, one, or be creative. How do I get around the obstacle? And they actually have excitement around doing that. It's a part of this creative space that they get to be in. And remember, sometimes some stuff will work and some won't, but they are not fearful of it not working. They still keep engaging and still keep pushing into this next space. So to me, it's really, really exciting to see leaders that are connected to who they are show up in organizations, because that's when you are actually getting diverse thought. You're getting confident leaders. You're getting leaders that are motivating and inspiring. They are not just more of the same. So I think organizations need to be mindful of not getting just more of the same, because you're not going to get different results. You're not going to have a different level of creativity if you're not embracing the different perspectives from different individuals. So the first thing I'm trying to do is get people to identify where they show up in the equation, and then they can bring it into the workplace from an authentic and an inclusive way, which is really exciting, because you just don't know what amazing thoughts or ideas will be generated from that. And overall, I would say, the natural born leader, I think what I'm trying to encourage people is realize that you have these traits within you, right? I want you to reflect on your life and see where some of these traits have surfaced. And when you understand that, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And then you start bringing a different level of energy to the workplace, different level of energy to all parts of your life, and you become more charismatic. Like, people want to hear from you. They want to hear your stories. They want to hear how you got through adversity. They want to hear how you removed an obstacle. And they feel connected to whatever your vision is. So I want you to be mindful of that. Those are some traits, some signs that leadership, that you are a leader, that you have had these traits in your life before. So let's lean into them and bring them into current day. So if this resonates with you, please give me a follow, subscribe to the channel, because this is where we talk about leadership at a different level and learning how to show up in a way where you are connected with who you are, so you can show up authentically in all parts of your life. And I promise you, the rewards will be priceless. So I will talk to you later, and I hope you are well. Bye.